Welcome back to the King's Corner, the place for all things Bethesda. I am the KingFanMan with a Starfield news update. I have been wanting to give you guys this information for what seems like an eternity, but it's just been since the last day of E3. I told you guys on the last podcast I gave from E3 that I thought the interview between Todd Howard and Elon Musk, there would be some major things revealed about Starfield. Well, guess what? We didn't get a lot revealed, but what was revealed was huge. In fact, the information we got about Starfield from that one interview was more than we've gotten from all other interviews combined. For those of you that don't know, I guess I should start by saying that Todd Howard sat down with Elon Musk on the last day of E3 for a very special interview. And if you don't know who Elon Musk is, well, he is the founder and CEO of SpaceX and also the founder and CEO of Tesla as well. And he just happens to be ranked 21st on Forbes' list of the world's most powerful people. We got to listen to this interview literally right before we left Los Angeles, which was wonderful. It lasted about 45 minutes long, and to the casual listener, it might have even been boring because they talked on a range of issues, and it was a very, very laid-back, casual conversation that went on. But us Bethesda fans knew what we were listening for. We were listening for clues about Starfield, and we had our ears perked up, and we got rewarded for being patient. The first thing we learn about Starfield in this interview, Todd actually alluded to it in his last interview. Starfield is going to be set in the future. So the technology in Starfield is going to be mostly technology that is advanced from our technology. Now, how far it's set into the future, we do not know yet, but it sounds like the way Todd talks about it, that it is quite distant into the future, that it's more than just a few years into the future. However, with that said, in this same interview, he talks about that this game is going to be very realistic, and it is going to have the feeling, he stops himself, but he gives the example of flight in the 40s.
That it feels like, hey, traveling in space in our game is still, let's say it's like flight in the 40s, like it's dangerous. It's still dangerous to go and explore, but even though lots of people do it.
Todd spends a lot of time in this interview, in fact, almost the entire time that he talks about Starfield, stressing the realistic nature of Starfield, that it's going to have a realistic feel, that it's going to feel real, that even though it's set in the future, that even though it's a game, it's going to feel real. Now, Todd has talked a lot about setting the tone, about feeling the tone of this game. Well, it's going to feel real. He wants you to know that space travel is dangerous. Listen again to what Todd says.
It's a game, but it still has an authenticity to, okay, this could happen.
Yep.
You know, we talked like, what kind of fuel do the ships use? Like, we're using helium-3, which we can debate whether that's a good power source for spaceships, or how do the physics work in space and gravity and those kind of things. And that's where you get into, we have to gamify it some. Yeah. So that it's not as punishing as actual space travel.
Now, there is so much in what Todd just said, so let's try to break down a little bit of it anyway. Todd talked about the kind of fuel that the spacecraft is going to have. Now, why would that be important? Are we actually going to get to choose the kind of fuel we're going to have in our spacecraft? Well, number one, that means there is going to be space travel, that we're actually going to get to do space travel in Starfield. Well, you say, of course we're going to get to do space travel. Well, people have debated whether you can do space travel in a Bethesda game. But remember, the technology in Starfield is going to be so far advanced from what it has been in Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. We're not dealing with the same engine anymore. In fact, everything is going to be new, except the editor. Some have said, well, it's going to be the same old engine. No, it's not. So yes, I believe we're going to have absolute space travel. And you're probably going to have to take care of your fuel levels. There's going to be, I believe, some kind of almost survival type aspects. You're going to have almost like a flight type simulator. You're going to have to fly this spacecraft. And if you don't do it right, you'll crash. Listen to how he talks about it. It's dangerous. You're going to have to be able to do it right or you're going to crash. So in other words, it's not just push a button and it flies you automatically somewhere. You're going to have to do it yourself. So that's very exciting. You're going to have to watch the fuel level. You're going to have to steer. And there's probably a whole lot more to flying a spaceship than just those two things. But obviously, I don't know how to fly a spaceship yet. But maybe we all will when Starfield comes. He even mentions gravity. So it may be that we're going to experience gravity and the lack of gravity in places. Some places we go may have less gravity. Some may have no gravity. It appears that Bethesda Game Studios is truly thinking of everything when it comes to this sci-fi game. And that is so exciting. So just going off what Todd Howard has said, it looks like they are going for a more realistic game. As he said, this could really happen. They're looking for physics that work in space. I believe that is the feel, that is the tone that they want to set for this game. Now, one of the last things that he says there in that section is when he talks about kind of like flight in the 40s, he says that it's dangerous to explore. Well, is that what we're going to be doing in Starfield? Are we going to be exploring the stars?
Hey, traveling in space in our game is still, let's say it's like flight in the 40s. Like, it's dangerous. It's still dangerous to go and explore. But even though lots of people do it.
Are we going to be getting to fly to different star systems, to different stars? Did he just tell us what we're going to be doing in Starfield? Just think about it. Flying from planet to planet. Again, certain planets have different gravity. We have to fly and maintain the starship. We have to land it. We have to make sure all these systems are working. We have to make sure the oxygen level is right. Once we get there, we have to put on our suit. We have to make sure the oxygen's working on our suit. We have to do all of these things because it's dangerous in space. It is a realistic game. Is this the tone he wants to set for Starfield? Todd has said he wants Starfield to be different than any sci-fi game out there. Well, is this it? Does he want it to be more realistic than any other game? Listen to Todd Howard.
That's really what I mean. Like, okay, and have it be its own thing as opposed to that's Star Trek or that's Star Wars. Or
So
somebody looks at it and says, that's Starfield.
Yeah.
You can look at Fallout and say, that's Fallout. But we look at it all, and again, that for us is having it be unique because there is so much science fiction. Yes, and it's not just that the tone of the world, it's the game flow and the things you can do.
Okay guys, now it's your turn. You tell me what you think about this interview, about what Todd has said about Starfield, and about my interpretation of his words. Just how realistic do you think Starfield is going to be? You tell me down in the comments. I don't know about you, any information about Starfield just gets me more and more excited. I cannot wait for an epic Bethesda Game Studios game in space. Alright, you guys please check my links down below. Also, I put the full interview, the link down below in the description if you want to see that whole interview between Elon and Todd. It's so intoxicating, by the way. That 45 minutes will have you riveted to the screen. I thank you for watching this video. I am the KingFanMan. I will see you guys amongst the stars. Bye, guys.